Well, our first story is by Lady Melons. What an amazing name. It begins on Halloween night of 2010. This is the night I met Finn. One of those nights you look back on and think, what if I hadn't? At this point, I'd been in college for approximately 2 months and had a fairly solid clique with whom I would hang out with. Being at Halloween and being that we were college freshmen, we wanted to go party the night away at a smelly frat house until the wee hours of the morning. One of the girls in our group managed to get a coveted invite for all of us, all 6 girls, to a frat known at our school for having the best bangers. Okay. In typical college student fashion, we wanted to pre-game before heading out to get a jump on the fun for the night. I went out and bought us some shitty vodkas and beers. Yes, at the time I was 18. I had a very convincing fake with the fact that I am the size of a professional basketball player. Most people never gave me ID a second look. Our group of girlfriends all came out to my friend and my roommate's dorm to start the party. We lived in a triples, so all 6 of us were able to hang out in there, sitting in a circle on the floor. We started drinking and shooting the breeze, putting on our costumes, getting ready for the party, etc., when all of a sudden we hear a very loud sequence of knocks on the door. I jumped up quick and ran to look out the peephole, convinced it was a micromanaging RA coming to bust up our fun, but I saw through the lens a guy around our age standing outside. I opened the door to ask what he needed. "Hi, can I help you with something?" I said. "Hey, my name's Finn. I know this sounds kind of strange, but I was just riding my skateboard through the parking lot and got into it with this guy. He tried to steal my beer, so I ran to this building to get away from him. I heard your music from your room and it seemed like you were having a party. I was wondering if you would mind if I could join you?" We can share my beer," he replied. At this point, you may be thinking, why didn't I just slam the door in the guy's face? But honestly, he came across as genuine, and as he was carrying a 24-pack of beer and a skateboard, and he was visibly out of breath, sweating like he had been running very fast, I asked him to wait one moment, while I discussed with my friends and then shut the door with him still outside. I relayed what he had said to me to my friends and asked their opinions on whether or not to let him in. Well, being as we were already somewhat tipsy and running low on alcohol, we decided, hey, why not? What is college for if not to meet people in the most random ways? So we let him in. The night turned out to be great, and Finn was just very normal. We all ended up remaining friends with after that night. Within the next few months with me, my roommate Sophia and Finn became fast buddies. Finn was older than us, about a few years older than us, about 23, and I was a super senior at our college and thus lived off campus in his own apartment that his parents paid for. His pad became the place to hang, and there were no campus police, walking patrols, RAs to bother us, and our illegal shenanigans, smoking pot. Finn would invite me and Sophia over a few times a week, and we would happily oblige, as he usually had seemingly unlimited amounts of weed that he always smoked us up on. Towards the end of the year, March-ish, Sophia started dating someone and stopped coming over to Finn's place with me most nights because he wanted to be her boyfriend. I was perfectly okay with this, and me and Finn were friends and got along really well. One night, him and I ended up hooking up. It was mutual. After that, things got different. Finn was a very interesting guy. He was very tall, with huge blue eyes that always seemed to be bulging just slightly, and a flashy smile. He was one of those very hippie types, with a voice that sounded like he was always completely amazed by any and everything he sees or hears. He had crazy philosophies about life and the world, you know, the typical stoner stuff. I liked him though. I thought he was funny, and I got a kick out of talking about random things with him whilst really high. In the weeks after our initial hookup, he started to tell me a lot about his ex-girlfriend and previous relationships, and how sad he was that it ended up that he missed her very much, and blah blah blah. I thought it was strange, because he never really mentioned her before other than in passing, when he told us that his last girlfriend he had was over 2 years, and he was okay with that. It was strange because he started telling me stories as if they had just recently occurred. I just assumed that us hooking up might have brought up all these feelings and memories, and that's why he's telling me these stories, I think. I didn't really think too much about it, and it's not like the stories were derogatory or demeaning to his ex, so I figured I'd let him vent because we were friends. Fast forward to the next September, start of my second year of college. When I returned, I called Finn to hang out, as we hadn't seen each other all summer. He agreed and came to campus to hang out with me. Now, over the summer, I'd returned home and gotten back together with my HS boyfriend. I told Finn this within the first few minutes of reuniting, as I didn't want him to have any false expectations. We'd only hooked up about 3 times during the previous semester, and there was no way we were together. He was unfazed and had an internal phew moment. Alas, things took a turn. I started a few months into the semester with random phone calls in the middle of the night from him, but I chalked it up to being, drunk, and he drank a lot. Then came the texts. They were just a bunch of mumbo-jumbo usually, but they lack any meaning, like, I've seen him, or can he go to the library and not read a book? Just very strange. Soon he started to demand we hang out for some sweet and spicy time, among other things. Okay. And at that point I told him that I don't think we should continue our friendship if he can't respect my boundaries. He apologized, and said it won't happen again, and for me to please consider staying friends with him. I told him I would think about it, but I needed time. He obliged. A month or so has passed, and I decided I would reach out to Finn to see if he wanted to go for dinner or was on campus, one night during the week. So I rang his cell and received an automated line is out of service message, so I popped onto my Facebook message to message him and found his profile was no longer active. I thought it was weird, but who knows, maybe he was going off the grid. I quickly forgot about it. Fast forward to the next semester around April, and at this point I'd almost completely forgotten about Finn. I hadn't seen him on campus or heard from him since we'd last spoke, and he was quickly becoming a hazy memory of a person in my mind. This is until one night I got a Facebook message from a woman I didn't know. I was sitting in the lobby of the student union on some benches waiting to get a late coffee with my friend before we went back to study. As I was waiting for my notoriously late friend, I don't know those kind of people, I see I have a new Facebook message, so I log onto my app to read it. Hi Lady Melons, my name is Shelley, and I am Finn's sister. He's been missing for over a week, and we are really worried about him. You're the last person he tagged on Facebook, and the last person he mentioned being friends with at the ABC college. If you know where he is, or if I can reach him in some way, please let me know, thank you. Out of curiosity, I tried dialing his cell again, but got the same message as before. I checked for his Facebook, and saw he had reactivated it, but the last status update was from about 5 to 6 months prior. I replied to his sister's message, telling her we'd fallen out of touch, and that I hadn't seen him around campus in a while, but if I did, I would let her know. I hit send, and all of a sudden the loudest crack of thunder exploded, what felt like right above the building I was in, and the sky opened up and started pouring what I can only describe as apocalyptic Hollywood-style torrential rain. I was silently cursing myself for not bringing an umbrella, and went to text my friend to bring an extra one for me. As I was typing, I can hear the door on the back entrance of the union open, and then the sounds of someone running. No, sprinting at full speed through the lobby towards the other exit at the front entrance. I look up at this, because lo and behold, it's Finn, running like a banshee out of hell. I call out to him as he runs by me, and he looks my way, holds up his finger as if to say 1 minute, straight through the front entrance without breaking stride. So I am debating whether or not I want to go outside and chase him down during this random monsoon we're having. I decided I would still message his sister, letting her know that he's still alive. I couldn't get him to talk to me. About 5 minutes pass, I'm still waiting for my friend to meet. I decide to go over to the front entrance and look outside to see if I can see Finn, and maybe call his sister again. Right as I walk over, Finn is walking through the door. He gives me a wide-eyed grin and a hug, and I could tell immediately that something was very wrong. First off, he smelled rank, like he hadn't showered in a couple of weeks, and he was skin and bones. His face was sunken in, and I could feel his ribs under his hoodie. Lady Melons! Thank God I found you. I've been looking for you everywhere. He frantically shouted at me, Look, I need to tell you something, and it's really important. At this point, I'm on alert, trying to figure out what direction this conversation is moving, and if I was not getting a good feeling, what I should do about it. At this point, he takes hold of my hand and starts walking me towards the library, straight across from the student union. For some reason, I remained totally calm and cool with it. It was just a gut instinct, and if I've learned anything, follow your gut. As we're walking, he turns and looks to me saying, Lady Melons, I love you. You are my girlfriend. At this point, I'm like, WTF? We are now at the library, and he leads me inside. We entered from the ground floor, which is technically the basement, and there's not much there besides corridors and elevators, and a closed bookstore. Oh, and 0 people around because it's 10 o'clock at night in the middle of an insane storm. I laughed off what he said, reminded him that I had a boyfriend, and they were just friends, but honestly, he didn't seem to care. He was looking around at the walls, which were plain brick, as if there was something to see, and then he started to stand next to me, next to a very loud ceiling vent. He then turns to me and says, "I need to tell you something, but I don't think you'd believe me. If I told you, you'd never believe me." "You can tell me, Finn, we're friends. I believe you," I replied. "Lady Millions, I'm the son of God. He speaks to me. He's speaking to me now." He bellowed at me. Oh, shit. At this point, I'm starting to panic. I take out my phone and quickly draw up a message to his sister asking her to phone me immediately and to come to our campus to pick up her brother. "We're all children of God, Finn. Isn't it great?" I said back. That's pretty smooth. I don't really have a clue what is the right way to handle the situation, or any sort of situation like this, and it became pretty apparent at the moment that he was in the midst of breaking from reality. And I remembered from a psych class I took in HS that you shouldn't try to argue or persuade someone during a breakdown. Interesting. He went on and on about how God had chosen him, and that he's the only one that can talk to people of God, and only God allows him to do this. He said that I was good, but the evil ones were out to get him. At this point, I cajoled him enough to leave the library and come back to my dorm to wait for his sister. I texted my roommate, letting them know the situation and so on, so I could get some more support. Once we were back in the room, he began to tell us a story about how he had rescued his ex-girlfriend, Snow White, from the Seven Dwarfs, but he couldn't get her because the police took her into custody. He told us that he'd managed to escape the police, and he ran to the campus to find me because God told him that we were in love. It was very strange, kind of funny, kind of scary, and sad at the same time. An edit to this story says, "I was contacted by the campus police a few months ago regarding Finn. Apparently he'd been stalking his ex-girlfriend for the better part of a year, and things came to a head when he tried to attack her on campus next to Starbucks. Turns out he actually did escape from police custody and was on the run when I ran into him that night. They told me that he had found a switchblade and zip ties on his person and basically warned me about him being dangerous." My goodness. Okay. Once his sister and her husband arrived, I filled them in on the situation, and they didn't take it very well. I wouldn't take it very well either. His sister was almost inconsolable when I described how he looked, very disheveled, and what he was saying and how he was saying and acting was very disconcerting. I guess they were estranged and hadn't seen each other in years, and she didn't know him as a hippie drinker type. Her husband seemed pissed off to even be there and was absolutely not helpful. Ugh. He didn't seem to get or just didn't believe in the mental breakdown Finn was obviously having. I managed to convince Finn to leave with them, no thanks to the husband who repeatedly told him to cut the shit, "You ain't talking to God, you just crazy boy." His sister messaged me later to thank me and tell him he was committed to the mental ward and was getting help. I thought it was all over until a week later she messaged me again. "Hi Lady Melons, I want to let you know that Finn somehow managed to escape the mental ward and hospital, and if he contacts you, please stick with us." What? The hospital he was at is on my campus, huge and very well known. So I was on high alert for weeks after that. About 6 weeks later, I got another message from her saying that he's fine and back home with his family. Finally, it's all over. Fast forward to the next year, I'm home over winter break and working in a retail store. I've had this job since HS. My shift is over and I go into the back to clock out and text my dad to come pick me up. I decided to wait in the store and maybe pick up a few items with my discount when I'm here. "Lady Melons?" I turned around and I see Finn standing at the end of an aisle. Hands in his pocket, WTF. "Finn, what are you doing here?" I said. "I'm visiting my sister and she wanted to shop. I remembered you work at this mall, so we came here," he replied. "Ah," mentally screaming. Should probably do that a bit more convincing, but, that'll suffice. "Is he for real? It's been a year since we'd seen each other, and we hadn't kept in touch." Me, "Oh, that's cool. How are you?" "I've been doing really great. I wanted to thank you for what you did a year ago. You've been a really good friend to me. I'm doing a lot better now. Just wanted to say thanks," he said, all the while maintaining eye contact and not blinking even once. "Don't even worry about it, Finn. I'm glad you're feeling better. I hope things continue on a positive path for you from now on," I said back. "Oh, Lady Melons, they will. I am doing so well in fact I stopped taking my meds. I've healed myself. God told me so. We can always love each other and to be together in his eternal kingdom." And with that, I noped the frig out of there. So Finn, let's not meet ever again. I must say, Lady Melons, besides an awesome name, You handled that situation exceptionally well. Thanks for the story.